The Young Women's Christian Association of the Philippines is a private, non-stock, non-profit, non-sectarian, service-oriented, and charitable organization which was founded in 1948.
YWCA aims to develop the physical, social, intellectual, moral, and spiritual well-being of women and girls in accordance with the Christian ideals for which the movement is deeply rooted. The goal of the YWCA are to bring about quality of life, to develop women as change leaders and members in body, mind, and spirit, to engage in selfless Christian service, and to empower women and girls in dynamic partnership with men and service groups toward total transformation.
The Young Women's Christian Association is founded in 1855 by Emma Roberts and Lady Mary Jane Kinyard. These two agreed to consolidate their efforts for a common cause during the Crimean War. In the Philippines, a similar interest group, the Time Investment Club, founded in 1921 under the leadership of Mrs. Felicissima Balgosa Barza, became the nucleus of the YWCA movement in the country. The first YWCA was officially organized in October 1926, which is the YWCA of Manila. Its first honorary president was Mrs. Aurora A. Quezon. This was followed by the organization of YWCAs of Baguio and San Pablo, thus the need to have a national organization. Dr. Jose Fajar Martinez was the first chairperson of the provisional board who worked on the establishment of the YWCA of the Philippines. And on February 14, 1948, the YWCA of the Philippines was formally created with Dr. Flora Ilagan as the first national president. The YWCA of the Philippines was admitted as a corresponding member of the World YWCA during the World Council meeting in Nanchao, China in 1948 and was taken in as an active member at the World Council meeting in Beirut, Lebanon in 1951. It is linked with other national YWCA in about 100 countries around the world through the World YWCA, whose headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. The YWCA is at work in the Philippines through groups such as YBUDS, who is elementary school girls, Y Teens organized in secondary school, Student Y organized in colleges and universities, Young Professional and the Adult Warriors. There is also the Community Youth Club, whose members either be in school or out of school. The YWCA of the Philippines has over 20 local associations all over the country and serves over 50,000 people through these local associations. Local Association from Northern Luzon, Local Association from Southern Luzon, Local Association from Visayas Region, and Local Association from Mindanao. YWCA leadership headed by Mrs. Lilia A. Farinas, National President, Ms. Marla May A. Baez, National Youth Coordinating or NYCC President, and Mrs. Nerissa B. Liena, National Executive Director. YWCA of the Philippines Legal Mandate. Affiliated with World YWCA. Programs and services are accredited by the Department of Social and Welfare and Development. We partner with other organizations like YMCA, GSP, NCWP, Renewable Energy Coalition, PhilCADSA, FAWA Philippines. Our local association partner with DepEd, CSWDO, and other entities. YWCA pioneered in health and recreation, introduction of physical education in the school curriculum, adult education, community center, camping for girls, youth work, residents, and ecumenical movement. Here are the YWCA's strategic actions and accomplishments.
Good morning, everyone. We hope that you're all doing well and are safe in your respective homes. Being a parent is one of the most challenging roles that an adult person will play upon building his or her own family unit in society. From ensuring that the basic needs of a child are met with due diligence to showing warmth and sensitivity to a growing individual, the importance of parents in child development cannot be underscored enough. The COVID 19 pandemic has caused undue stress on families at a global scale. As we come to terms with our ever changing normal, we find that worry and anxiety are at the forefront of the multitude of emotions we experience. Children, in particular, are worn out by the circumstances, and as such, their mental health is affected, and the dynamics inside the household or within the family shift. Through this webinar, the YWC of the Philippines Incorporated presents data-backed and peer-led guidance on how to keep the calm at home and develop stronger family relationships in unforeseen events or circumstances such as the pandemic. Welcome to another installment of the Y Talk series entitled Parenting in Times of Crisis. I am Francine Prades, your host for today's event. To start off, let us have the Philippine National Anthem, followed by a prayer for the pandemic led by Mrs. Elizabeth L. Diaz, a member of the Global and Local Affairs Committee.
Ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, dala sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa gilid mo'y buhay. Lupang hiniram, gulat ka ng magiging, sa manlulupin, di ka masisingil. Sa lahat ng lulok, sa sigaw at sa langit mong babang, may ginagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nabigin, ang ituwing na araw na kailan pa may madilim. Lupa ng araw ng 100 pagsika, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya ng pagpay makakamit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Most compassionate Father, we have come together to pray for the healing touch of your Spirit on our people, our country, and the whole world who are now suffering from this COVID pandemic. In love and prayer and with your blessings, allow us to reach out to the thousands affected by this deadly virus, so that we may, within our limitations, share with them your divine mercy. May we all be consoled and strengthened by the loving kindness of Jesus Christ, your Son, whose death on the cross enables us to call on you for healing from this pandemic. Touch us, Lord, in our helplessness, so that we may become whole again, to give you everlasting glory and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
At this juncture, let us lend our ears to Mrs. Remedios Obicomong, the chairperson of the Global and Local Affairs Committee, for her welcome remarks.
I'd like to repeat, good morning to everybody who has joined us this morning. And we are honored to have your presence with us because we know that many of you, like me, are parents who are facing very difficult situations during these challenging times. I know that we are all here to learn new lessons on how to be better parents during this crisis that we are going through. And there seems to be a wealth of lessons that are waiting for us to know as we listen to all the speakers that we are going to have this morning. In the meantime, we would like to ask for everybody's attention so that all of you will be able to see that there is not only one point of view in raising our children. There are many other things that we can resort to in regard to raising the kids the way we want them to grow up, and especially because we want them to have the heart of God and to be able to see for themselves that they and their parents are going to be safe with all the help that will be coming from the Lord. Please try your best to pay attention to all the speakers and all the lessons that we are going to learn today. And hopefully, when you leave this webinar, you are going to discover that you are really much better parents than you thought you were. Well, good luck to all of us, and I hope you enjoy your attendance here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bicomong, for that heartwarming message. Of course, our webinar today wouldn't be possible without some very special people, namely our guests and participants. We have the National Council for 2018 to 2022, led by our National President, Mrs. Lilia A. Farinas, our Vice President for Admin and Management, Ms. Maria Corazon M. Francisco, our Vice President for Program and Membership, Dr. Early G. Datario, our Vice President for Finance, Ms. Fatima E. Tizon, our Secretary, Mrs. Claudine V. Dapatnapo, our Assistant Secretary, Mrs. Riza B. Zambarano, our Treasurer, Ms. Sonibet G. Gracela, our Assistant Treasurer, Ms. Nanette L. Abuan, our Public Relations Officer, Ms. Melody A. Marfil. They're also joined by members of the National Council. We have Ms. Jewelyn R. Cadavos, Ms. Jessica M. Deboton, Ms. Judy Ann M. Deboton, Ms. Marla May A. Baez in her capacity as the NYCC President, Ms. Nina Krista May I. Haro, and Ms. Edith M. Membilia. We also have Dr. Leonida Bayani Ortiz, the chairperson of the Council of Past National Presidents, CPNP. And we have ex-official members, Attorney Bienvenida A. Gruta, a delegate of the World Council for 2019. We also have Mrs. Neriza B. Eliana, our National Executive Director. For the Global and Local Affairs Committee, we have the chairperson, Mrs. Remedios O. Bicomong, our co-chairperson, Mrs. Perla T. Coronel, and our members, starting with Dr. Early G. Datario, Ms. Maria Corazon M. Francisco, Mrs. Elizabeth L. Diaz, Ms. Rachel T. De La Cruz, and Ms. Marcia O. Bicomong. For the Amara Counseling and Training Center, we have Ms. Marjorie B. Gomez, MARGC, Dr. Elaine Dizon, the Training Department Head, Pastor Archie De La Cruz, the Training Department Head also. We have Ms. Marcia Suzanne O. Bicomong, the Education Department Head, and Ms. Rachel T. De La Cruz, the Executive Director. For the National YWCA staff, we have once again Mrs. Neriza B. Eliana, our National Executive Director, Program Assistant Ms. Karen A. Pira, Office Support Staff Ms. Aubrey S. Rico, and Ms. Celia A. Dalisay, our housekeeper. For the YWCA local associations, we have the YWCA of Cavite, YWCA of Dagupan, YWCA of Makati, YWCA of Quezon City District 3, YWCA of San Jose del Monte, and YWCA of San Pablo. We also welcome with us our YWCA interns from Occidental Mindoro State College. We have Leodiver Tambuong, Angela Hichon, Jenny Canyaveral, and Charity Lactaoen. Aside from that, we have our participating organizations, institutions, and schools, starting with Daniel V. Romualdez State Comprehensive School of Fisheries, the Divina Pastora College, Department of Social Welfare and Development, Universidad de Manila, Northside Doctors Hospital, NDDU, San Martin National High School, PUP Santa Mesa, Tarlac Agricultural University, Marinduque State College, Duquit High School, Prensa National High School, Fortunato F. Halili National Agricultural School, College of the Immaculate Concepcion, Lucrecia Casilag Senior High School, Batasan Hills National High School, Bacacay East Central School, Malabon City Concepcion Elementary School, DLSUD, Department of Education, Tabaco National High School, Juantino Sevilla High School, PNP WCPC, Muñoz National High School, Main Junior High School, Central Luzon's Doctors Institute, Occidental Mindoro State College, Santa Cruz Institute Incorporated, Commonwealth High School, Dagupan City National High School, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Department of Social Welfare and Development, Wenceslao National High School, John Iverson Academy or the Boy Scout of the Philippines, David Elementary School, Servants for Transformation, Maria Clara High School, Northwest Samar State University. We also have with us the Philippine Red Cross, Cotabato City, Maguindanao Chapter, St. Camillus College of Manaoag Foundation Incorporated, YWCA San Jose del Monte, Zamboanga Peninsula Polytechnic University, STI College, DHSUD, local government units, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, Immaculate Concepcion Academy, Philippine Merchant Marine Academy, Doña Juana Chioco National High School, College of the Immaculate Concepcion, Cabanatuan City, Pagkalinawan Elementary School, San Manuel National High School, Jesus Sanctuary International Gospel Mission, AFCC, Jesus Sanctuary Tandang Sora, and the Muzon Christian Alliance Church. So we would also like to introduce and acknowledge the presence of our resource speaker. And to introduce her, we have Ms. Rachel P. De La Cruz, Global and Local Affairs Committee member.
Thank you, Francine. We are blessed this morning to have our speaker, Ms. Marjorie Brioso Gomez. She is a registered guidance counselor with Masters in Pastoral Counseling from Asian Theological Seminary. She is a resident counselor of Amara Counseling and Training Center, specializing in marriage and family counseling. She is a professor and held many positions in Messiah College and Andrew Theological Seminary. She is the president of the Alliance Women Philippines Area 5 Metro Manila District, and she has spoken in various seminars, radio shows, and TV programs, speaking on topics like mental health, counseling, parenting, marital enhancement, and issues on adolescents and children. She is happily married to Mr. Dan Gomez with 6 wonderful children and 2 adorable grandsons. Without any further ado, let us welcome our guest speaker this morning, Ms. Marjorie B. Gomez.
Good morning, and thank you, Rachel, for that introduction. Okay, let me just share my my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, nakikita na ba yung aking presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so good morning to everyone once again. So I hope that as we are doing this webinar, we are all in good shape, healthy, and we're all safe. Well, it's been a year and a half since the pandemic, and I'm pretty sure yung parenting has never been more difficult than it is now. I could just imagine po ng mga homes that are constantly experiencing tensions, no? When children and parents are all home. In most homes, it's 24/7 pag lockdown or kailangan mag-quarantine, no? And we are thankful for webinars as this, no? So thank you YWCA and also Amara for partnering and making events as this possible. So, para lang po magkaroon tayo ng feel of our topic this morning, no? Magkaroon lang po tayo ng simple activity, no? It's just be a show of hands, no? Click the raise hand reaction ng Zoom sa lower portion ng inyong screen, no? Since hindi tayo allowed to turn on our cameras, no? So pag nakaka-relate kayo, you can resonate with the scenario or the situation given. Show a raise of hand. Okay? Okay po ba yun? Sige, let me just start my screen. Okay. So, fun and simple show of hands, no? That's me. Okay. So, lahat tayo mag-join, ha? Okay, first scenario. I was branded as judgmental, no, by my child. Show of hands? Anyone? Meron ba? Okay. Sige lang. So this should be fun, ano? Wag tayong mahiya. Okay. I got impatient listening to my child that I gave an alibi and flew. No, nainip ka. Okay. Ako din, nangyayari din sa akin yan. Okay. And third, my child or children calls me a nagger, no? I was called a nagger. Oo, yung iba hindi na yata binababa yung kamay, no? Lahat sila yan. Okay. Number 4. I hit my child in anger, but saying sorry came really, really hard. Huh? Okay. Yeah. And number 4. I am my child's run-to person. Takbuhan ka ng anak mo. Yes, anyone? Takbuhan kayo ng anak niya pag meron siyang problem or gustong ikwento, gustong i-share. Yeah, okay. That's good. Number 6, no, exchanging I love yous has been a part of a normal day-to-day conversation with my children. No? I love you, anak. No? Bago matulog, hindi lang pag umaga, and every now and then. No? Yeah. Number 7, I have parent friends I can freely share parent issues with. No? May mga amigas kayo na parent din at sila yung kakwentuhan nyo when it is about parent issues or parenting. Yeah. You should, no? You should have, no, 1 or 2 or a few. Okay. Number 8, I allow my children to make mistakes, knowing that they will learn after. Yes? Kasi some would not, no? Ayaw, takot na takot silang magkamali yung anak nila. Okay, so nagiging overprotective probably. Number 9, I felt disrespected by my child and really felt ill about it. No? Hindi ako ginalang, binastos ako. Sama-sama na pakiramdam mo. Yeah? Yeah, that really happens. No? Okay, and lastly, I pray with my children. I pray with my children. You do? Totoo? Okay, sige. Okay, so sana po, no, somehow na-enjoy natin yung ginawa natin yan. No? Dahil it has been almost 2 years na yata, no, na nagsimulang maabala yung mga nananahimik nating mga buhay. The coronavirus, yung COVID-19 has changed our daily lives, no, and caused emotional tension. The precautions, yung mga precautions that we take to prevent the spread of the virus, ano ba yung mga ginagawa natin? We limit outside interaction as much as possible. We engage in physical and social isolation. And then these things have further aggravated tensions. All of a sudden po, diba, we need to be staying at home, working from home, no? Our children doing online classes. Yung mga groceries and other essentials are delivered to our doorsteps instead, no? And even yung mga virtual worship services, no? Mga mass gatherings, are no longer allowed, no? At times, no? Depende sa level or sa category, no? Ng lockdown sa isang lugar. So all of these, found Zoom, Skype, minsan Google Meet, Messenger as the safer platforms to push activities like this. So almost the entire globe found themselves burdened by this worldwide health crisis. So ano nga ba yung crisis, no? Ano nga ba yung crisis? Okay. So why do we need also to adjust our parenting style or make better our parenting approach? More so now that we are in a time of crisis, no? So it is good to also look into the things, that bugs teenagers or even our younger children, no? Ano ba yung mga sinasabi natin, ginagawa natin, no? Because, it is worth looking into that kasi nga po, ay kadalasan andyan sila, kasama natin sila sa bahay. So we might as well know of these things. No? Number one, being told about the good old days. No? Di ba you catch yourself saying, nung panahon namin, hindi ganyan. No? Ba't kayo ganyan? Diba? Yung mga ganyan. Okay. Or being negative without knowledge. No? Sobrang nega ka kagad, samantalang hindi ka pa man nagtanong, hindi ka man lang nag-imbestiga. Okay. So that bugs them off. No? Naiinis talaga sila. And not listening. No? Not listening or not admitting rather when they are wrong. No? We do not admit that we are wrong. No? Feeling natin, ako yung nanay, dapat hindi na makita na nagkakamali ako. Okay. And then not listening is number 4. So this one we will really go into this later, no? So mas malawak na pag-aaral dito. And then we lack empathy, no? Yung bang hindi natin mailagay yung sarili natin sa lugar, no? Ng ating anak. Hindi natin sila ma-feel, hindi natin sila maintindihan. Okay. And when you are wrong, no? When they are wrong, we rub it in, no? We make them feel that they did something really stupid or bad. No? Yan. So, ang sama-sama ng pakiramdam ng ating anak. Okay, bribing, no? Sinusuhulan para gawin yung mga gusto nating ipagawa sa kanila. What else? Not letting them learn by mistakes. Okay, so napakadaming magulang na ganito yung problema. Takot na takot sila magkamali yung anak. And so, masyadong sheltered yung anak. Masyadong to the rescue lagi si nanay or si tatay, no? Para walang mistakes. Okay, but we know that we learn by our mistakes, no? Even our children. Okay, number 9, not letting you make your own decisions, no? So, I have a counselee before na 21 years old na siya, hindi pa rin siya may hawak ng kanyang savings, no? At yung allowance. So, binibigyan lang siya ng a little amount to manage, no? So, sama-sama ng loob niya, no? Okay, what else? Comparing, no? This is really bad, comparing them with others, no? Tingnan mo si kuya mo, o tingnan mo yung ate mo, ayos na ayos yung gamit or whatever, no? So, it gives them the feeling na yung iba bida, siya yung laging bad boy or bad girl. Okay. Inconsistencies in values, no? Okay. So, iba yung sinasabi mo, no? Tapos iba yung ginagawa mo, no? Okay. So, inconsistent ka sa mga values. Magtataka yung anak mo, sasabihin, kala ko ba mali yun? Diba? Okay. And lastly, no? Caring too much about what others think. Okay, so sometimes po, yung problem with parents is that they are more concerned with what others will say rather than what their child will feel, no? At yun yung problem, no? Yun yung nakakasakit sa ating mga anak. Okay. So, sabi po dito, no, parents, no? In Colossians 3:21, parents, do not irritate your children or they will become discouraged. No? They will become discouraged. No? At pag na-discourage na sila, no? A lot of problems arise, no? Or could arise. Okay, so probably we should have a better understanding of what crisis is. So yung crisis may be defined as uncomfortable and unexpected, no? Hindi ini-expect na events we experience in the course of life. No? There are two kinds of crisis situations. No? Una yung situational, like this pandemic, and probably also yung losing someone to COVID is another. No? Losing your job due to lockdowns or businesses closing down. No? These are situational crises. No? The other one is developmental, as in transitioning, no? Or going through the process of developing from childhood to teen life, yung mga ganyan, no? Or from being a couple, bigla kayong nagkaanak, no? So developmental din yan, you know, this stages in life, no? Na you have to really go through, no? So all of a sudden, hindi ka maintindihan ng mga kasama mo sa bahay, no? Bukod sa stress because of the pandemic, nagme-menopause ka na yata, no? And that's an added headache or heartache, no, caused by another crisis you could be going through. So ano po yung mga signs of stress, no, or maybe depression, mga mental illnesses, no, emotional tensions that we should actually observe, no, sa atin pong mga anak, especially this time ng pandemic, no. So lately po, in the course of my work, no, as a counselor, I've been encountering cases of children and teens, no, even young adults, no, bigla silang na-confine sa 4 na sulok ng bahay nila, 24/7, no. Samantalang dati po ay parang bed spacer lang sila, no, uuwi para matulog because they enjoy friends so much more than they enjoy home, no. In fact, a lot of them are unhappy when they are at home. And so dahil sa pandemic at health protocols, no, disallowing most of our children to stay out of the house, no, nagmanifest po yung iba't ibang signs of stress, depression, mga emotional tensions na ito. So ano-ano po ba itong mga signs na ito? Let's look at them. Una po yung aggressiveness, no, biglang napapadalas makipag-away yung anak mo, bugnutin, no, binubuli mga kapatid, nanira ng gamit sa bahay, no, nagre-rebelde, sumasagot ng pabalang, nananakit, no, mainit lagi yung ulo, masungit, yan. Okay. So those could be a sign, that could be a sign ng aggressiveness, no. Another is yung sleep problems. No? It's either tulog ng tulog o maraming sleepless nights, no? Or it could also be that interrupted po yung tulog ng inyong anak, no? Interrupted. Okay, so gumigising sila pag madaling araw, ganyan, no? At hindi na makatulog. Another is yung nightmares, no? May mga nightmares, some naman would have visions na nakakatakot. Like, there was one kausap ko lang recently, nakakakita siya ng mga black image, no? Black image. So, takot na takot siya. Another is yung getting fuzzy or crying for no reason. Basta naiyak na lang po at hindi nila maintindihan, no? Maaring natitikilan, no? Mga blank stares, tutulo na lang yung luha, no? Hahagulgol na lang bigla, no? And they could not tell you why. Okay, so that's another na maaring kailangan nating maging aware, no? Baka nangyayari sa ating mga anak. What else? Urinary incontinence at night, no? This is more common to younger children, nagbe-bedwetting, no? Could be a sign of heightened stress level. So that could also happen to older children, no? Weakness or weariness, no? The young person could feel exhausted and weak when your child has not had strenuous work or activity during the day, no? So matamlay yan or very low yung energy, no? So biglang nagbago samantalang dati sobrang sigla, masayahin. Okay, so you have to watch out. And then yung mga nutrition, sleep problems, no? So ang taong depressed, isa sa mga immediate and more common signs, no, ay yung hindi normal yung pagkain o pagtulog. Okay. There could also be a fear of separation, no, with the parents, na mas common po sa mas maliliit na mga anak, no? Sobrang clingy na sila. Di naman, dati naman, no, hindi siya umiiyak, magpapaalam ka lang, aalis ka, no? But now, probably the child cries a river, no, hanggat hindi ka bumabalik o umuwi. Another is yung talking or thinking about the event, no? Yan, yung isang symptom na that the child or the teenager talks a lot or thinks a lot about pandemic, no? Bukang bibig niya yon. He or she asks a lot about it, no? Worries about it, no? Fears so many things related to the event, no? So there are other signs, no, that were not previously typical for the child, no? Naging makakalimutin, biglang malungkutin, no? Or ayaw makisalamuha na sa tao, ayaw na makipag-usap, sinasaktan yung sarili is another one. Madami po ito, no? Self-harming, and among others, no? So what we do is we explain to the child, no, yung feelings nila are normal in this situation, no? Temporary situation, hopefully. Sometimes the signs of stress and tension may not be so obvious. It can be easy to miss them, no? Sometimes you may even like, no, the child's altered behavior, biglang bumait, to, kasi tumahimik. Dati ang likot-likot, ngayon nasa isang sulok na lang or maghapon na sa kwarto niya, no? So he used to be very noisy, now he's so quiet, no? You can even notice his presence, yung ganyan. So we have to watch out, no? Biglang may mga typical, not so typical behaviors. I have actually met separately with 3 people, no, magkakamag-anak, in a counseling session kasi nakawitness sila ng suicide ng isang kasama sa bahay 3 weeks ago. Just 3 weeks ago, yeah. The 19-year-old girl hanged herself inside her room. At lahat sila shocked, no, and clueless why the girl decided to put an end in her life. This girl was seen to be very strong. At siya pa nga daw yung nagbibigay ng advice madalas, no, sa mga pinsan niya, no, sa kanilang mga ka-age niya. No. But this gruesome event still happened, no, despite that perceived image ng taong yon. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful of these days, no. So sabi po dyan, no, sa Proverbs 19, discipline your son, for there is hope, no? Kaya nga po meron tayong ganitong webinars because there is actually hope, no? Do not set your heart on putting him to death, okay? So what should we do as parents, no? Especially when you have children who look up to you, no? For strength, for inspiration, for encouragement, for assurance, for hope, all these things. What should we be doing, no, to make the abnormal situation more bearable, more manageable for our vulnerable children, no? Itong ating mga anak, mahina sila, no? They need us, no? So anong gagawin natin para mas magaang dalhin ang isang mahirap na sitwasyon ngayon, no, dulot ng pandemya? Okay, so first we have to stay calm. Tayo, no? We have to stay calm. As parents, no? Stay calm as much as you could if you should want to give your children the better chances to remain calm themselves. Sabi nga po ng isang favorite quote ko, no, na lagi kong ginagamit sa parenting, lend them your calm, no? Not your chaos. And Miss May, no? Paano kakalma kung sa dami ng mga namamatay araw-araw, no? Sabi nga po dati numbers lang yung mga death na yan, no? Then yung mga death suddenly had names, and now they are more familiar names, then suddenly slowly creeps through homes, no? So even yung social media, sabi nila parang obituary na everyday, no? Because of deaths here and there. So how do we battle our own inner chaos, no? So we could better manage the external chaos these days, no? Let us go through them one by one, no? Una, no, to stay calm, you have to get information only from reliable sources, no? It is such a waste and is even so unfair, no, to be frightening the hell out of everyone around you when the ghost you're talking about doesn't in fact exist, no? Pati sarili mo, hindi ka na maka-function, no? Takot na takot ka na rin because of these things, no? So be sure to check everything using reliable sources, no? And if you think you're not sure, no, of your source o pinasa lang sa iyo, hindi wala naman nakalagay kung saan galing, no? So you might as well be quiet about it, no? Huwag mo na siyang i-share. Pangalawa, limit, no, on how much information you are absorbing, no? So maybe you could just listen to the news a maximum of twice a day to avoid being overwhelmed with constant information, no? O kung isang beses ka nanood at overwhelmed ka na, that should be enough for the day, no? Kota ka na, tama na, no? Okay. Usually, yung children's reactions, no, correspond to the behavior and emotions of their parents, no? Kaya yung ating susunod, no, ay we have to really control our emotional conditions, no? We have to control them, no? So do not express, no, yung hopelessness and anxiety in the presence of our children, no? Kasi by maintaining composure, no, we show children that we are in control of the situation. So this should calm them down, no? And then we should also take care, no, of our emotional health. So if you experience, no, tanungin mo sa stress or excessive anxiety, no, you can talk about it with other family members or online with people you trust, no? Take time, kahit saglit, no, para sa mga bagay na magpapanumbalik ng payapa at lakas sa'yo, no? Mag-exercise ka, makinig ka sa music, or if you play an instrument, no? Play an instrument, no? Why not? Devote time also, no? Very important to meditate on God's word, especially on His promises, yung mga assurances niya of hope and guidance, no? Yung promises niya of strength, no? Restoration of strength, safety, yung provision niya for you and your family, no? So you can even pray with your children, no? And express how you trust God. Let them hear how you trust God's ever-arriving grace, no? In every moment, no? Para makalma din sila, no? Because you are imparting, you are sharing your calm to them, no? Because of God's promises. Okay, so we also have to model self-care, no? Parents should be mindful of how they manage their own time. Your teen is watching, sabi dyan, no? So parents are trying to juggle raising children, managing so many things, laundry, meals, yung work, no? Yung bills, spending time with their spouses as well, no? So if your life is out of balance, you will have a hard time getting your teen to listen to your advice, no? Sabihin pa sa'yo na anak mo, bakit ikaw nga eh? Diba? Hindi mo na, ang gulo-gulo na nung maghapon mo, hindi mo na aayos, no? So, tapos sasabihan mo ko, okay. So we also have an opportunity to model wise social media behavior, no? As you set good example of what's appropriate to post or how much time you should spend pinning photos, you will positively influence your teen, no? So we model, no, yung self-care sa kanila. And then, listen and talk to your child, no? Listen and talk to them about their feelings, no? Don't try to mentor or moralize when your child tells you about their feelings and thoughts, no? Madalas sasabihin natin, wag kasing, dapat hindi ganyan ang naisip mo, hindi ganyan ang nararamdaman mo, no? Mga ganyan. So give them the opportunity to say what he or she wants, no? Okay, so para sa mga bata, napakahalaga na makinig at kausapin sila tungkol sa mga nararamdaman nila, no? Okay. Explain coronavirus-related facts calmly and in an understandable way, no? Lalo na kung smaller kids yan, no? Explain, yan. Gustong-gusto nila yan, nag-i-explain tayo sa kanila, no? And taking into account yung age and maturity ng inyong anak. Talk to the child about necessary hygiene rules, staying at home, no? At all in a light, pleasant, and stress-free way, no? Baka may mga tanong sila na wala kang sagot. Minsan ganyan, ano, di natin alam. Be frank, no? And say, di mo alam. But promise to find out, no? Never give made up or mga incorrect information. Minsan gawa-gawa mo na lang just to shut him off, no? Tumahimik na lang yung anak mo, no? Nag-iimbento ka ng sagot. So encourage the child to be open, no? You can tell the child, we can talk about it whenever you want, no? So they feel good na binibigyan mo sila ng time. Okay, so another, no, is to plan your day. Involve the child. No? Plan educational, entertaining, and physical activities. Make timetable, very similar to previous usual schedule. Maintain child's normal sleep regime. No? So spending a relatively long time in a small, confined space is emotionally stressful to everyone, no? Especially for your children. So if you involve them, no, planning how the day should go will help you all maintain a normal rhythm of life at marireduce po natin yung stress ng ating mga anak. Mas tinatanong natin sila anong gusto natin gawin ngayong araw. Ano ang orderin natin, no? Yung mga ganyan. So plan your day with your children, no? Involve them. And very important to have fun together. No? Set aside time for fun activities, play board games, paint, no? You know, watch a movie, read, stage a show, exercise, and all of these things. Importante din to laugh with them, no? Yes, always employ humor to lighten up, no? Mapapagaan natin yung mabigat na mga pangyayari sa paligid, no? Okay. So para maiwasan natin na madalas na tayo ay in conflict sa ating mga anak at maiwasan din na dumadagdag tayo sa stress ng buhay ng ating mga anak when dapat tayo ay tayo yung mga nakakatulong mapagaan yung buhay nila para sa kanila, no? Dapat natin silang maunawaan sa mga needs nila. Okay, so very important po itong next part, no? To understand the person of our child, no? Bakit ba ganyan sila, no? Minsan ang dami natin, hindi na nga tayo nag-uusap sa loob ng bahay because we can no longer understand one another. Feeling mo hindi ka nila maintindihan. Sila naman feeling nila hindi mo sila naintindihan, no? Okay, so ano po ba yung mga needs ng ating mga anak? And when we learn this and attend to this, no, definitely relationships will improve inside the house. Okay. The need to connect, the need to conform, and the need to choose. Tatlong letters, you know. So, yung need to connect, no? Teens are growing up, no? Sabi dyan, in a world with countless outside influences. Yeah. Dami po. The onslaught of technology. Yung insatiable need for social media, no? Para sa ating mga anak. Mga endless video games, no? Yan po yung kaaway ng mga nanay. And the inescapable smartphones makes a teenager's life incredibly complicated. It's no wonder parents are more concerned than ever, no? Lalo ngayong pandemic, no? Na nasa bahay lang sila. No? Naku, talagang maraming nag-aaway tungkol dito, no? So, trying to understand and how to love and guide your teen, no, or your children while keeping your relationship intact takes effort, no, these days. Especially, no, ngayon, confined sila, no, sa bahay. And this pandemic seems not wanting to go away, no? Teens are growing up in a world with countless outside influences. And these influences entice our children by offering love, no, superficial love, no, identity and acceptance, which our children crave. No? Yun yung gusto nila. Our children needs relationships. No? They need to connect. Yung desire to connect can become a 24-hour obsession for them. Kaya po babad sila sa mga phones at ibang gadgets. This utter need to be connected affects how they interact with us at home, no? With friends and in public. Okay. So we have to remember, excuse me, that children are our most important ministry, being parents. No? You have more influence over them than over any other person in the world. If you plan to provide a sense of belonging inside the family structure, no, your teen will have a better chance of resisting peer pressure. No? Yung mga anak natin, no, can and will identify with something. Kailangan maka-identify sila, no, sa mga kaibigan, no, sa kung anong uso. No? Their need for personal identity, lalo na sa mga teenagers, allow us to come alongside them, no? To let them know they belong to our families. No? So the more po na we provide our children with a sense of family identity, the less likely that they will seek identity elsewhere. No? Instead, they will learn to how to have healthy, appropriate relationship with their peers, not replacements for a missing family. Okay, so pag-isipan po natin yan, no? Okay, so when we are with our children, say no to scrolling through social media when your teen is around. No, don't ignore what they say, even in the midst of conflict. Avoid interrupting them. No, yung lack of listening was the second highest complaint. Caused them incredible frustration with their parents. No? Yung ini-interrupt ba sila, no? Hindi pa siya tapos magsalita, no? Meron ka ng sinasabi, may pang sagot ka na. The ironic part is that most parents, pag tinanong mo sila, would describe themselves as good listeners. No? That's how they feel. No? So it is best not to assume, no? Take heed of complaints or negative feedback from our children. Probably, no? Just probably they are right, no? So spend quality time, create memories, no? Lalo na ngayong panahon, no? Na dyan sila, no? You have to create memories, no? Na yung mga ano ba, let's say 10 years, 20 years from now, no? They will look back and say na once upon a time nag-pandemic pero ang saya sa bahay, no? Rather than pandemic na nga, no, ganun pa yung bahay namin, ang gulo-gulo, ang ingay, you know. So, we can choose to create good memories for them. Okay. Yung pangalawa, no, need to conform. Lalo na sa mga teenagers, no. There are a lot of things parents need to understand. Yung pressure to conform to social norms. To wear the right clothes. Sa bagay ngayon, ano, hindi na rin masyado. But you know, kahit papano, no, nag-uusap yan online. Anong bagong phone mo dyan? Diba? Mga ganyan, ano? Anong mga bagong, ano mo, kung whatever, gadgets, no? And act the right way is very high among teens. No? Teens are also facing the reality that school is getting harder ngayong online, no? And we're not even sure kailan magiging normal ang sitwasyon. No? And so, often, they feel anxious or overwhelmed. No? Taking time to, we have to educate ourselves. No? Paano natin sila matutulungan as parents. Okay. So, yeah. To further understand their need to conform, no? Our children are in a constant attempt to meet expectations, no? And to measure up to others' standards. It gives them the sense of fulfillment when expectations or standards are met, no? Pag naaabot nila expectation ni nanay, ni teacher, ng mga kaibigan, no? However, when they constantly fail to measure up, they get tired and give up. Failure after failure could result to depression, rebellion, guilt feelings, feeling of inadequacy, yung shame, hiyang-hiya sila. Or they develop very poor self-image and self-condemnation. No? So we have to help our children. No? We have to really find ways, creative ways, how to really connect with them. No? Kaya nga po, ang daming mga cases these days, especially with young people na nag-go through sila ng mga mental health issues. And the third need is the need to choose. No? So, probably most of us here, we have moved away from diaper changing, potty training, into training, guiding, cheering our children toward their future. No? So our growing children have to gain more freedom. Slowly po, unti-unti natin silang pinapakawalan. Yung freedom po to choose probably their electives in high school, to explore their interests. No? They begin to look toward college, and careers. And before you know it, they will be ready to launch into the world. So having you beside them, understanding their dreams, goals nila, encourages them to explore and try new things. So kailangan nandyan tayo, when they are in the crossroad of choosing and making decisions, even big decisions for themselves. And this pandemic has caused a lot of uncertainties. At ang issue talaga is control. Many things are uncertain these days. Kahit sa ating mga anak, talagang nararamdaman nila ito. Because of the constantly changing pandemic situation, yung sudden loss of lives, hindi man sa ating pamilya, sa pamilya ng kaibigan, ng ka-churchmate, yung mga unexpected job termination, mga things that caught us painfully by surprise. Children wonder, when can they be allowed to stroll in the malls again? When can they be with friends again? Yan po yung mga tanong nila. When will face-to-face classes happen again? They miss yung mga tryouts sa basketball team, the year-end fellowships sa school, mga class retreats, field trips, or even simple hanging out in the school cafeteria. Uncertainties make us face the fact that certain things in life simply are beyond our control. They cause anxieties and worries to our children in varying degrees. It will be good for parents to allow children to have a good sense of control over some things that are allowable. Yung pwede. So encourage them to, let's say, remake their room on their own fashion and style. Let them chart their weekly schedules and explore possibilities of self-discovery. Mag-enroll sa mga online classes, mga skills training, personality enhancement of their choice. Yan. So yung mga simpleng gano'n. Minsan nga yung simpleng ano lang, no, anong gusto mo nilaga or sinigang, yung mga simpleng pwede namang palagpasin na natin, no? Just so, life will be taken easier, no? Hindi yung palaging kontrahan sa bahay. Okay. So ito yung issue ng mga parents, no? May struggle, no? To listen, emerge from a fear of their messing up. Ayaw natin nagkakamali yung mga bata. So our teen has the need for freedom. Parents have the need to control, no? At yan po yung problemang dapat nating pagtuunan ng pansin, no? If we should want to maintain good relationship with them, no? Matuto tayo yung makipag-negotiate sa ating mga anak, no? To meet halfway minsan ganyan, no? So while it is true that teens can get into trouble, sabi ng isang writer, we must learn to stop controlling and overprotecting them. We must become better listeners, not skeptics. Okay. Okay, sa 1 Corinthians 13:11, sabing ganyan, no? When you were a child, you spoke like a child, but when you grew up, you put away childish things, no? Okay. So the Lord wants everyone, no? Lalo na yung ating mga anak, to mature in every way. However, when parents control their children and fail to trust their judgments and choices, they act to be the greatest hindrances to their children's growth, no? They cause their maturity to be delayed or hampered. Yan. So unti-unti po ang papakawala sa kanila, no? And by the time that they are beginning adult life, marami na po silang kayang gawin for themselves, no? And by themselves. Okay. So, sabi po dyan, no? Great parenting happens when you start controlling yourself and stop controlling your child. Okay. Let's look at this, no? Isang communication between parent and daughter, no? At makikita natin dito that a lot of times we do not understand one another. She always cuts me off. Sabi ng nanay, I know she will just tell me lies. I want space, sabi ng anak. Sabi ng mommy, she just stays in her room all the time and I cannot understand her. Sabi ng anak, I need my iPad to do my homework. No? Online classes. Sabi ganun ng nanay, I can no longer tell if she indeed needs it for homework or she will just use for FB. Sabi ng anak, I am happy to be with my friends. Ayaw naman ng nanay sa mga friends, no? Some are bad influences for her. Okay, so they don't meet eye to eye, no? Okay. So we have to learn about some feeling stoppers, no? Yung mga, these are actions and words from or by the parents that make their children rather suppress their feelings, no? So we have to understand that feelings forced underground, yung mga sinusuppress, can cause misbehavior in our children. So they choose to stop expressing how they feel in order to protect themselves. No? Pinoprotektahan nila yung sarili nila from being hurt by the parent, no? Being judged, being blamed, all these things. And just try to imagine if this is a day after day or moment after moment experience by our young ones, no? Lalo na kasi ngayong pandemic, andyan lang kayo, pareho sa bahay. Maghapon yan, no? And before you know it, your child could have already grown apart in his or her love for you. No? Nawawala na yung connection na dati was once very strong. No? Worse is that while these things are happening, it might escape our eyes that our children are already developing mental and emotional issues, no? That will only be seen as obvious only when symptoms are already at their worst. So ano po itong mga feeling stopper, no, na sinasabi or ginagawa ng mga magulang, no? Okay? Not listening. So hindi na lang sila magkikwento, hindi ka naman nakikinig. Pinapagalitan mo naman ako lagi, wag na lang ako magkwento. When you are solving problems for them, when they want to solve it themselves, no? or learn to solve it themselves. Moralizing, when you're making fun of them. Lecturing, giving advice. Of course, some of these are really good things, kaya lang yung minsan po how we say it, no? How we do it, at yung timing, yun po yung mali. No? Humiliating, yan. And being sarcastic. Ano pa po? Minimizing, minamaliit natin yung mga experiences nila, trivializing. Imposing guilt. Name-calling. Punishing. Okay, natatakot sila. So they'd rather not say anything. Pitying, no? They do not need probably your pity. They need you to just listen. No? Rescuing, interrupting, criticizing. Okay, so those are things, no, na kailangan mga feeling stoppers, no. So let's try to learn from this. No? Okay, so we have to yung mga anak natin, they must be sure that you support him or her, that you understand, no? And are there to take care of him or her. Remind the children that they can discuss difficult issues with you at any time, no? And that you are always at their disposal whenever they feel nervous or sad or for any other reasons that they need you, no? So we have to make ourselves available for them. Okay. Because most of the time, we do not allow them to express, no? Lalo na when it is about anger, no? About frustration, no? And those kinds of things. Sabi po dito, no? Sa James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. And there's a poster here from that says, the first duty of love is to listen. Okay. So when you listen, you will learn a lot about your child's motives, fears, desires, struggles. No? Once you understand how your teen thinks, you can steer the conversation while guiding your teen through the decision-making process. So we have to really win our children, no, to us para nag-guide natin sila, hindi napuputol yung connection. Yun yung very important doon. No? Good guidance happens only after good understanding. So when you pause to hear your teens' thoughts, you communicate their worth. No? They feel important. Listening shows interest. The talker feels valued. No? And yung listener gains useful information, no? Kayo ito, no? That helps cement the relationship. So tumitibay yung relationship. If you are committed to listening, your teen will want to come to you when something is on their mind. Yan. Okay. If you are not available or willing to listen, they will find someone who is. No? Sadly, far too many teens reach out to the wrong people in their quest to be accepted, to be listened to. No? So listening makes them feel important. No? Or if we do not, we might lose them earlier than necessary. So listening can be the greatest contribution you can bring to parent-child relationship. And it strengthens the parent-child relationship, demonstrate attentiveness, caring, and respect. Yan. Napakahalaga. Listening is more than just hearing. No? To truly listen to your child, you must give your undivided attention and put your own agenda and needs aside. Well, of course, hindi laging ganon ang case. No? Sometimes you are in the middle of what you're cooking or you're washing your clothes, so busy with a lot of things. No? So probably what you can tell your child is, you know, you are very important to me and I'm really interested in what you want to tell me. Probably we could have time later after lunch para I could give my undivided attention to you. Yan, yung mga ganyan. No? So, natututo rin yung ating mga anak to negotiate, no? And to listen. Okay. So children will listen to you after they feel listened to, sabi ni Jane Nelson. And of course, as we are not perfect parents, We have our own share of mistakes and shortcomings. Yung forgiveness po, no? One of the most important aspects of a healthy family. I do believe ngayong mga araw na to, marami pong mga gusot sa loob ng bahay, no? Maraming mga conflicts. So, hindi lamang tayo naghihintay na mag-apologize yung ating mga anak. We have to model it, no, to them, no? Yung paghingi ng tawad. No? If you are honest about the fact that you have imperfections and make mistakes, your child will also confidently ask for forgiveness when they make a mistake. So offer an apology and resolve to be careful what you say in the future. No? Words once spoken and received are irreversible. Tandaan po natin yan. But of course, God allows for healing from hurtful words. No? In time, hurtful words are like a voice message. They replay. Nagre-replay po yan sa isipan ng ating mga anak. No? Kahit tayo, ganun din ang experience natin. No? They can hear that comment over and over in their head. So be willing to repent, make amends, reach out for love. And you know, when you do this with love, no, the message is surely erased, no, little by little, no, slowly. Okay, so let me share to you a story of an unloved child. No? Let me read. My mother was the oldest of 13 siblings living in difficult circumstances in Germany. She had too many responsibilities too early in life, and her busy parents were unable to meet some of her most important needs. Many years later, while she was raising 5 children of her own in America, she talked about how much she had always missed the love of her own mother. How can I love when I never was loved? And the pattern repeated. As a young girl, I missed her love and warmth and recoiled against her harsh parenting style. I vowed that I would raise my children differently. Doing better for my own children became my life's mission. I had to unlearn what I didn't want and figure out how to become a loving, positive, and playful mom. If there were negative patterns in your family, perhaps involving addictions, abuse, or neglect, you can do better for your kids. Our childhood wounds propel you to do better for your own children. Instead of repeating the old mistakes, I know there have been a lot of mistakes done to us, no, by our own parents, no, when we were younger. So let us learn from them. Instead of wounding your children, you can heal yourself. Okay. So, siguro let me just give you my final words. No? The abnormal situation during this pandemic makes parenting even harder. It takes selflessness and commitment. Doing better for your kids, especially learning the art of communicating and listening to our children, is a personal triumph. So every word we utter creates an impact to our children. But yung makinig ba tayo sa kanila emphatically spells the big difference in building the person out of our child. The way we communicate with our children either make or break them. No? So let us therefore be the source of God's hope and not fear, God's love, not hate. No? God's strength too, no? If we should want to see our children really thrive in this very uncertain time. So in love, let us make life better for our children when the world is making it harder for them. So God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Gomez, for that truly insightful talk on parenting in times of crisis. Indeed, as we transcend the barriers posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it is necessary that we are equipped with the tools to help our families adapt and thrive. So before we proceed to our next segment, we would like to remind our participants that if they have any questions for Mrs. Gomez, they can type these questions in the chat box below or send them to our organizers. So we will be sharing these and discussing it in an open forum led by our moderator, Ms. Marcia Suzanne O. Bicomong, a member of the Global and Local Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Miss Marjorie, for sharing with us that very timely talk. Truly, this pandemic has been a challenge to all the parents and the children as well. It is true that the key to solve our problems with our children is to build a relationship and to have good communications with them. We do have a lot of questions for you this morning, so I will dive right into it.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
Question number one. My son is always on his phone. How can I regulate his screen time because he gets angry at me when I take his phone or turn off the internet?
Okay. Problema talaga yan, no, Miss Marcia. So,
Mm.
well, actually, there have been surveys, no, among teens, no, among students, that their biggest challenge, and all of them say this without reservation, is that staying away from their phones. So yung cell phone distraction is one of the biggest issues, no, we hear about from parents. No? So just to say a bit about our children, especially yung mga teenagers, no, yung emotional center ng brain ng ating mga teenagers, no, which is more activated than the thinking or the more rational part of the brain, is always desperate for excitement, no, gustong-gusto nila laging may excitement, no, and so we really cannot expect them to use the technology like we do, no, na pang work or pang business, no, ganyan, and to have the same discipline and manners as adults do. So therefore, we should really set limits from the very beginning, no. But of course, I do understand, ngayon, no, may mga malalaki ka ng anak, ngayon mo palang binigyan ng phone, no, at hindi maganda yung simula. But it's never too late to start. Probably we should give you some tips, no, to keep addiction from developing in the first place or prevent it from getting worse, no. Let's say yung anak mo ay nasa ages 10 to 13, no, limit daily phone use. Let's say, pag-usapan nyo 30 minutes, no, after homeworks are done, or 30 and another 30 minutes at night, no. Malamang may mga ano dyan, no, bakit 30 minutes lang? So nasa inyo yon, ano, if I could bargain, no, with your children. Teens that age truly have nothing so important to discuss naman, no, nagchikasan lang sila, kwentuhan, no, connecting with friends. But if they have the option of using their phone, they will use it, no. So
Yeah.
take away that option, no. And kung nyari naman medyo matanda na yung anak mo, let's say 13 and up, no, probably you can have a protected, yung iba ganito yung ginagawa, may 2-hour period every day when there's no cell phone use, no. So this should happen even if they don't have homework or even during vacation and summer. So may pahinga talaga. So another, no cell phones. Some would really say na no cell phones in bed during sleep time, no, mga ganyan. Don't text also your children pagka time ng classes nila and nag-aaral sila, no. So ikaw din, no, you have to also set limit to yourselves, no. But if it is time sensitive, send a message, no, to your office, yung ganyan, no? Hindi directly would require the child to get hold of his gadget, no. So a lot of families also are, they have introduced the no cell phone during family meals and outings, no. Yung mag-set ka talaga ng boundaries sa mga anak mo, lalo na when they are young, no. So model good cell phone manners also, no. Napaka-importante talaga yung modeling. No cell phone while driving, don't answer emails while that time is intended for them. Yung makita nila may disiplina ka. So bibigyan din nila ng disiplina yung sarili nila, no. Unless it is really urgent and important, doon ka lang talaga hahawak ng cellphone, no. And in that case, no, make it quick and apologize to them pagka time with them, no. Pag kailangan mo sumagot ng mga emails or whatever messages. Yan.
Okay.
I hope that answers it.
Thank you, Miss Marjorie.
Yeah.
Question number 2. I just discovered that my 16-year-old daughter has a boyfriend. She just met him online and I'm afraid that he might take advantage of her. Should parents allow their teens to keep their phones private? What can I do to protect my daughter?
Okay, it's really tough, no? We should understand yung ating mga teenagers, they are impulsive and A lot of times they don't think before they act. No, they can get themselves in the kind of trouble that might spell a lifelong implication or consequence for them. No? So having said this, monitoring your teen's phone or other gadgets is a necessary evil. No? If you should really want to protect your daughter, no, kung sino man po yung nagtanong yan. So it's uncomfortable. It can make you feel like a nosy parent, no? You're not even sure how honest that boyfriend is to your daughter, what the real intention is. No? So probably you can say from time to time, you and I together will check the texts and photos on your phone. I get that this feels like an invasion of your privacy, no? But I need to know that the conversations you're having and the photos you're getting and receiving are safe, no? Sabi nga po, boyfriend na daw, no? So I get that kids like to talk dirty and sexy photos, no? Mga exchanges. But that's not acceptable on your phone, no? Sabihin mo sa kanya. And it is important to be blunt and honest with our kids, no? Lalo na pag ganito na yung case. So yung cellphone po, we have to remember, no? And yung computer or any other device is a privilege, no? It is not an entitlement. So as grown-ups in your house, it's your job to make sure your teens are using them safely. So you can help you can't help really if you do not know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yan po.
Thank you. After 1 year of online class, my daughter does not want to enroll anymore. I still enrolled her because she's already in senior high. Now that the classes have started, she still does not want to attend. What can I do to encourage her to go back to school?
Okay. It is very clear here that there was no clear understanding at wala rin pong negotiated plan established when the parent enrolled the child after telling the parent that he or she doesn't want to enroll anymore. No? Hindi malinaw yung naging usapan or hindi naging clear yung nararamdaman ng bata. Now the parent is at the mercy of the child who would not attend her or his classes when at the first place the child already expressed not wanting to enroll. No? Lalo na ito ay teenager ba to?
Yes.
Yes, yan, nasa senior high. No? So
Sige.
this is not to say that parents should just give in to what the child wants or doesn't want. No? We have to be able to get into the root of the problem, no? If we should want to deal with it appropriately. No? It will help to really listen to your child and get him or her process their thoughts and feelings. No? You may also bring him to a counselor, no? A psychologist, no? Or to a pastor na trusted ng bata. If you feel that somebody has to mediate between you. No? Minsan po hindi tayo komportableng makipag heart-to-heart talk sa ating mga anak. No? After all, it may not be that she doesn't want studying, but there are other things. No? I have counseled a 16-year-old boy who was already self-harming. No? Bombarded po siya ng so many life stressors other than school workloads. There were other reasons like yung father niya, nakipaghiwalay sa mom niya. No? And being an only child, no, he felt so alone. Whenever the mom would leave for work, no, wala naman siya mga kapatid, siya lang mag-isa sa bahay maghapon. And he was expected to help clean up the house, cook for his own meals, no, and all. And was at that time adjusting to the new normal, no, yung online system of education. So we really have to really get to the roots of things. No? Kailangan natin talagang malaman. No? Maaring hindi siya tamad o hindi sa ayaw niya lang yung school, ayaw niya lang yung course niya. No? Probably nag-pile up, no? Maraming bagay na that he could not really manage to face online classes. Yeah.
Thank you. Question number 4. My children are doing very good in their school. They are 16, 14, and 12 years old. But the problem is that they are not helping with the chores at home. We don't have any help, and I'm left to do all the chores. How can I train my children to help me, especially during this pandemic?
Okay. Okay, so very common to ngayon, ano? When children do not help with chores at home, it could be more likely, no, that parents fail to train them. No? In this case, it could be that yung parent or yung parents have been so focused on getting the children excel academically since they started schooling. No? Kaya sabi nga, doing good in school. No? Yeah. And probably now that the parents said there was no longer any help, no, I'm assuming there were helpers employed before. Now she has to do everything, and maybe has siguro itong nanay, kung nanay man ito, no, has gone older and weaker, madami nang nararamdaman, madali nang mapagod, ganyan, no. But the chores remain to be of a load for her. No? So it's not too late, however, to get the help of the children. What you can do siguro sa mami na to, call for a meeting, no, with your children. Honestly tell them how you are having difficulty, that while they can actually help, no, you are also teaching them how to do chores, something that will be of significance to learn as they grow older and soon have a life of their own. No, you can actually encourage a teamwork, no, with you as the captain of the team.
Yes.
And you all together work in the accomplishment of common goals, no. So it will also help to give them rewards, no, once in a while for being team players, no,
Yes.
like having their favorite meals delivered, no, from Jollibee, from McDonald's, kung ano man yan, or just cooking cooking their favorite, say, pasta or pizza, sitting with them as you watch their favorite movies all together. Do, di ba? Ganun lang yun, no? Kailangan lang talaga natin yung be creative, na hindi natin sila pinapagalitan lagi at nagdidiman tayo ng napakadaming bagay na, you know, we can actually find ways how to really get our message across in a nice way. Yun.
Okay, thank you. Is it a good idea for children to educate their parents when it comes to parenting?
Okay. So yung bata yung nag-educate sa parents niya. Okay. Ay, ang cute ng tanong. For me, it doesn't matter where I learn from. Whether it is from my own children or some parenting gurus, no? Sino man yan. For as long as I can become better, taking the advice, I wouldn't mind. This may be empowering your mind, the young minds, no, of your children when their ideas are welcomed and appreciated. So just make sure that you also appreciate their ways that are done within the bounds of respect. No? Hindi naman yung parang ikaw na yung bata at sila na yung magulang na kung paano ka na lang nilang pagalitan at turuan, diba? Within the bounds of respect always. So when you listen to your children, they learn listening to you as well. So it become a golden moment for learning and connecting to. Yan.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. May. As a guidance counselor, how do you deal with parents who have wrong views on mental health issues and are resistant to your advice?
Okay. Good question. No? And a difficult question as well. Okay. You know, we really cannot blame some parents or adults, no, these days when they have different views about mental health issues, no, as ours, no, hindi nila naintindihan. In the first place, a lot of them were probably raised in a generation when mental health issues are a taboo, and depressed people were merely seen as deeply sad or lazy, or could just be unnecessarily wanting attention. No? Sabihin pa, nagpapapansin lang yan. No? At nag-inerte lang yan. No? Ayaw lang pumasok. Ayaw lang magtrabaho. Yan. So noon ganun yun, ano? Ngayon marami na tayong mga branding for mental health issues, no? So it will be difficult to explain things to them, no? Madalas po ito yung problema. I was even told this by a counselor na paano po hindi naman siya naniniwala. Hindi naman po ako naiintindihan ng nanay ko. No? And even some people na gustong tulungan yung bata, sabihin, paano po hindi po namin ma-explain doon sa nanay, hindi naman po naniniwala doon sa totoong sitwasyon ng anak niya. Okay? So it will help to have someone who is really knowledgeable about these things to explain, no, to the parent. And probably that person could also cite examples to them, no? Tell them yung mga consequences ng mga mental health issues that a person could be suspected suffering from, no? Pagka ini-ignore to, ano yung mga consequences, no? Yeah, so probably kung hindi pa rin naman sila, ewan ko na lang, kung hindi pa naman sila makinig that, sinasabi na sa'yo na we know of a lot of people, no? who have gone through this and that, and this is what happened to them, ganyan. So it will also help to explain these things with genuine show of concern and gentleness. If we should want them to see, no, or if we would want to see them change their minds on this matter, no. So maganda po yung maayos na pagsasabi, yung genuine concern, and kung maganda po talaga ang gagamitin nating tao, yung medyo pinapakinggan ng magulang. No? Yeah.
Okay. How can I raise my child to be genuinely respectful to parents and not respectful just because they are afraid of us?
Okay. Yeah. So these things really happen these days, no, na yung mga anak natin ay when we are with them, no, we could feel how they respect us. Pero at our back, no, ayan na, no, they tell things that are against us, no, that we are like this and we are like that we are unfair, that we are not just, that we are, that they hate us, things like those. Even to their friends, no, even to their mga companions nila, no. So, it could be that itong mga batang ito ay pinalaki sa takot. No? They grew up receiving threats from parents, no, or from adult caretakers, no, na nagbe-behave sila dahil tinakot sila. Sumusunod sila dahil tinakot sila. They listen to you because they are afraid of you, no? Ito yung mga batang sinasabihan ng maliit pa lang na pag hindi ka nag-behave, iiwan kita. Pag hindi ka nakinig, lalayasan kita. Pag hindi ka, a lot of things like those. So they grow up learning to show you respect only when you are in front of them. But behind you, things are really a lot different. So it's not too late. It's not too late. Again, no, we should always remember that there is always hope. No? We should try to, to believe now we can still introduce change, no, as we want to improve relationship with our children. So, kung dati what we employ is threat, no, and frightening the children with so many things, no, that they feel so afraid. Probably this is the time you really take time again and again. You would always tell parents to learn how to listen to your children, because when they are listened to, you earn their respect. No? Okay. You earn their respect. So probably that's how you do it. Pakinggan mo sila and try to bargain with them. Choose your words and be gentle. No? So always it is listening that is very much the key, no, to gaining respect from our children.
Okay, Miss Marjorie, last but not the least, there's a new question from a Zoom participant. I am a working mother since day one of my first child till I gave birth to my ninth child. But I lost my job as a contractual employee just this year.
Mhm.
I find my children affected as much as I want to be calm and pretend to be okay. How can I be productive amidst having all the uncertainty and frustrations of being jobless for the first time in the pandemic?
Yeah, we parents, no, we are of different, we are in different family situations, even yung pagpe-parent natin. We have different sets of situations sa bahay with our children or with our job. We have different personalities, we have different resources available. No? But one thing is common. No? We all go through this pandemic really hard. No? And, kung ano man yung sitwasyon natin. No? Yeah, you have your own situation, no, mommy, and you have 9 children, sabi mo, tama ba?
Yes.
And that's really tough, no? Yun pa lang, no? The key there is to do self-caring as much as you can, because you cannot really give what you do not have, no? We really have to be very okay, very healthy, we have to be able to find strength for our children every day, to have a healthy mindset or a healthy mental condition, spiritually as well. No? You really need to be spiritually strong for your children. Otherwise, he may not be there when they are already losing hope. So self-caring is really very important. Yung bang you should take care of your physical health as well. No? Because that will really take a toll on you pagka hindi ka malakas, may sakit ka. No? Saan sila lalapit? Ikaw pa yung aalagaan nila. So all of these things you really have to consider. No? Yung every aspect of your life, no? You are able to, to really be whole. No? Yung kailangan kompleto ka for them. But of course, that doesn't happen every time. No? But in as much as you can, self-caring ka. Para at least, no, the lesser the stress for you, and you are able to give more for your children. Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you, Miss Marjorie Gomez, for sharing with us your words of wisdom when it comes to parenting.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much po.
Thank you, Ms. Bicomong, for moderating our open forum. And again, thank you so much to Mrs. Gomez for engaging us in such an informative open forum. Nakita ko po ang daming parents and ang daming young people na who came forward with their questions and are willing to learn more on how to help their respective families adapt with our new normal. So to present our certificate of appreciation to our resource speaker and moderator, we have Mrs. Neriza B. Eliana, National Executive Director of the YWCA of the Philippines Incorporated.
Thank you, Francine. Again, thank you, Ms. May Gomez. Of course, Marcia, for moderating the open forum. On behalf of the YWCA of the Philippines and National Council and staff, we would like to express our gratitude to all of you who participated, and also for our resource speaker and our moderator. So I will be reading the citation. YWCA of the Philippines and Global and Local Affairs Committee, in partnership with Amara Counseling and Training Center, presents this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Marcia Hussein O. Bicomong, member, Global Local Affairs Committee, for her invaluable contribution as moderator, which led to the success of the Y Talk series on the topic Parenting Teens in Times of Crisis, held on September 11, 2021, 10 a.m. via Zoom, given this 11th day of September in the year of our Lord 2021. Signed by the chairperson of the Global and Local Affairs Committee, Mr. Regis O. Bicomong, yours truly, and signed by our National President, Ms. Lilia A. Cariñas.
Thank you.
Next, certificate of appreciation is presented to Mrs. Marjorie B. Gomez, resident counselor specializing in family and couples counseling, for her invaluable contribution as resource person, which led to the success of the White Talk series on the topic Parenting Teens in Times of Crisis, held on September 11, 2021, 10 a.m. via Zoom, given this 11th day of centenary year of our Lord 2021. Again, signed by our chairperson of the Global and Local Affairs Committee, Ms. Remedios Ticomong, yours truly, and signed by our national president, Ms. Lilia A. Farinas. Truly, this activity is so meaningful because of your sharing of your expertise and your experiences on this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again to our moderator and resource speaker for spending time with all of us. So, while it has been such a fun and fulfilling day for everyone, I'm afraid it is now time to sign off. But before we do, let us have the closing remarks by Dr. Early G. Datario, YWC of the Philippines Incorporated Vice President for Program and Membership.
A pleasant morning to everyone. Allow me to express our profound gratitude and appreciation to our resource speaker, Mrs. Marjorie B. Gomez, for enlightening us on the importance of positive parenting in times of crisis. It comes as no surprise that we parents feel a lot of stress and anxiety during these uncertain times. However, it can be hard to remember or see the effects of these sudden changes on our children. Children are feeling the psychological and physical brunt of their parents. It is important in these stressful situations for us parents to remember that the sense of love and concern to our children is critical in mitigating the effects of stress. It is necessary for us parents to remember that above else, providing a loving and nurturing home environment will support our children best through this crisis. If our children have their basic needs met and are feeling loved and nurtured and safe, we are successfully parenting. Thank you to everyone. Have a pleasant and wonderful day.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the Parenting in Times of Pandemic webinar or Parenting in Times of Crisis. Once again, I am Francine Prades, your host for today, saying do stay safe and stay negative from COVID-19. Thank you so much for attending today's event.